Hi guys, Ryu here with another video for Blender. This one we're going to be talking about bevel width type and limit methods for bevels in Blender. It's a question sent to us by one of our members on Blender Bros community, by Andre, and he sent us a really cool question regarding bevel width and limit methods in Blender. I thought that creating a video for you guys is going to be a really good idea because more people can benefit from the answer. That's actually a really good question. And also I wanted to show you how our membership operates. We get a lot of questions like this, and quite often we create videos to explain different issues. So there is a very tight, community that we have, and we all grow together, and there's a, amazing exchange of knowledge and experience going on. So I highly recommend you guys check us out. You can hop on Blender Bros website on blenderbros.com and click on membership and check out our membership offer. Is really cool. Now also, in addition to that, I think you should probably look into that around Christmas time, because without giving out too much, there's going to be quite an interesting offer in terms of membership on Christmas. So let's talk about bevels. The most basic way of me adding bevels to my models is just going Q with hard ups and adding a bevel, and then waiting almost. So Alt click on sharpen. That's it. Okay, that's like 90% of cases. But there are times when you want to play with your bevel and, for example, either change the limit method, or you simply cannot add bevel to certain edges because of angle or other problems, etc. So these settings are quite important. Now let's talk about width type, okay? I never touch this thing. I touch the amount and segments, but I never touch this. I never change this. It's always set to offset. I don't see a point of changing that, okay? So, this width type basically changes the way the width is calculated by Blender. And honestly, I don't see a bloody point of changing that. So if you have an idea why this practically would be useful, let me know. I never touch it, never had a use for it, never needed it, so I don't care. But limit method, it's really important, and that is really useful. So I'm going to show you all the cases that I use and how to do this with hard ups and even some more. So let's talk about the most basic one, angle. So now angle is set to 30 degrees by default. What does it mean? It means that any angle, so this one is 90 degrees here, right? These two faces, that's 90 degrees angle, okay? Any angle that's larger than 30 degrees, it's going to be beveled, okay, by this bevel modifier. So if I'm going to drop a loop here and I'm going to start scaling it out, and this angle is gonna basically go lower, so below 30 degrees, you can see on the top that the bevel disappears. And the reason is because this bevel now here, this angle here, is about 28, probably 29 degrees. So if I go to Q and bevel and hold Alt and start scrolling, you can see on the bottom right, my angle is gonna start changing, and when I'm gonna go to 28 to 29, it snaps back, into bevel mode, because now the angle, is different, right? The threshold just simply changed. But what if I wanted to keep the angle at 30? Because, if you keep lowering angle, you might actually start catching other edges and start beveling them, which might not be desired. So, you might want to use a different method for this. So in this case, what I would do, probably I would just go with weight. But when I switch to weight, you can see that everything disappears. And the reason is that none of these edges have a weight assigned to them. You can assign it in vanilla Blender by pressing A, go into edge mode, right click, and then edge bevel weight, and moving your mouse to the right and clicking, you can see that there's going to be a factor of 1 applied to it, or simply typing 1 and enter, or -1, which will remove the weight from your edges, so -1. Or what you could do is you could simply go with hard ups, which is much easier, because in hard ups you go to Control tilde menu, and under General you can set the sharp option parameters, and if you select apply B weight only, if you're going to select all the edges here in Blender, press Q, mark, every single edge is going to get marked as B weight. And then you will see that because we have this limit method set to weight, every single edge is beveled. But what if I wanted to, okay, have a different bevel running on this outer edge here, because, you know, all these bevels are of the same width, okay? And so if I, you know, adjust the width of this bevel, and I'm gonna adjust number of segments, every single one updates at the same time. So they're all equal, right? They're all identical. What if I wanted to have, let's say, smaller bevel here? So let's say 5 segments, okay, and a really thin one. But I wanted to have like a really supple, nice, fat bevel around. Well, I could remove these, the bevel width from these edges by clicking mark again, which will remove them, and the bevel will disappear. So what I can do now is select, you know, these edges, go to vertex mode, okay, and I could add a vertex group here, all right, and assign these vertices to the groups. If I deselect and select, you see that they are selected. You can even change the name here to, let's say, 1. So double click and just type whatever you want. And go back to bevel, go back to solid view, and, you know, let's add another bevel. So Q and control click on bevel. This will add another angle based bevel in hard ups, and we're gonna switch it to vertex group. And then we're gonna click here and select 1. And now what I can do is press Q, bevel, and when I start moving my mouse, you can see that I'm beveling this edge. Now, of course, I need a bit more segments here, so let's add, I don't know, 15. And you can see I can create a supple bevel here, okay, and a really, really nice tight bevel here. So I can control both of them at the same time. Bevel, and adjust the big one, press Q, adjust the small one, press Q, adjust the big one, and so on and so forth. Now, hard ups gives you an interesting way of adding that vertex group with one click. So if I remove that, which will cause a complete disaster here, let's remove this one. Let's go to edge mode, and with this edge selected around this loop, right, I'm going to go to Q, and I'm going to control click on mark, which will add vertex group to this entire edge. Okay, so if you go to vertex group, you see that there's a hard ups vertex group here. So I have one bevel that's basically weight based, another bevel that's vertex group based, okay? That's extremely useful when you work with modifiers like booleans. So if I'm gonna the bevel here, and then I'm going to add weighted normals, and I'm going to slice this with a cube, and go down in B and add a bevel here, right? So I got bevel going on this modifier, okay? Let me just reduce the bevel here on this. There you go. I have a bevel going on here on this cube, right? On this cutter. But what if I wanted to have only 2 edges beveled and 2 of them not beveled? So I can click on the cube, have a scroll, recover this one, go to edge mode, right? Then you can see that these edges are marked by weight, and you can select them. You can go to Q and alt click on mark, and then move your mouse, and you can remove or reduce the amount of bevel you know, that's affecting these edges. You can reduce it to 0. That's a really useful you know, thing to know. Now, another tip I give you is that you can stack multiple angle-based bevels on the same mesh, and you can do this very easily with hard ups. There are many ways of doing it. So let's say I'm gonna add a bevel here. That's bevel number 1. I'm gonna add weighted normals, and then let's say I wanted to cut this mesh here, but I wanted this cutter to have, you know, this boolean to have a different bevel. So you go here, press Q, and then you go to bevel, and you hold shift and control and click on bevel, and then press X to slice the amount of width of the bevel in half. So now when I'm going to draw a bevel here, I mean cutter here, you'll see that the bevel is of a half size of this one, and I can keep doing this, you know, forever. Okay, boom, see what I mean? So now I can adjust all 3 of them at the same time. So watch, bevel, and adjust this one. Just don't go too crazy, because you might start seeing artifacts. Q, okay, adjust this one. Q, adjust this one. And you can keep stacking them. Another way of doing it would be to press, to go with step method. So operations step, and then it's going to get another bevel to the equations, and I got 4 bevels going on. So that's how you can stack angle-based bevels on one mesh using hard ups, okay? And now, if you use smart apply on this one, okay, it's gonna apply every single bevel except the last one. So be careful, because this is the only bevel that's gonna be alive, and there are, you know, the other one's gonna be applied. So be cautious with this, okay? Whenever you have dual bevels going on and you want to use smart apply, right, the last bevel will not get applied, but every single bevel is considered a structural bevel gonna get applied, which in this case is this, you know, the smaller bevel here. So you can only adjust now the bigger bevel, right? Alright guys, that's it for this one. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks so much for sending the question, Andre. Hope you guys learned something useful, and like I said, go ahead and check our membership offer. It's really cool, great, you know, bunch of people, and we're having a lot of fun. Thanks so much for watching. See you in the next one.